Hello world, good evening. Let's have a little cup of bedtime tea, even though this is a black tea with a lot of sugar in it. I'm one of those little freakazoids that can drink coffee before I go to bed and have a really good sleep. Okay, well, I just got a message from Venus. If you want to look great, dedicate Venus hour for visiting your hairdresser. It's Venus hour right now. This would be a little self-care. Oh, I did a little shave earlier, but right before I started this video, I was like, you know what? Classic. Got out my lotions and potions. So I was like, I gotta look good, smell good. So I lotioned up. I need to have soft arms right now. And I put on some aftershave for bed. I don't know why. It's just where we're at. Looking good, feeling good, you know? Okay, so I was really just trying to connect on my own spirit team for my own stuff. And it's weird because I feel like even though it's spring and hibernation should be done, I feel like I've gone even more into hibernation. I'm out in the world a little bit, but it's very insular. But what's great about these downloads and channeled messages is that in YouTube, it's kind of like a way of being extroverted. Anyway, point being, I was trying to do my own stuff, and I kept hearing the song by the Beastie Boys, Sabotage, great song. And this has kind of been coming through the last few days, and I get a lot of channeled messages. A lot's coming in, especially right now. So sometimes I just catalog it, we put it to the side, you know. But it's been coming up, and I really have been locked into someone's energy that I feel like needs to hear the message tonight. Because again, it's kind of like bedtime. I was ready to like go hang out with Saint Germain, have a hot date with Saint Germain and the Purple Flame and do our thing. But here we are. And you know what? I love spending this time with you, whoever you are. This is great. Like I said, our nighttime tea. Okay. So we have the Beastie Boys, Sabotage, and then real quick, because this is going to swing around and I don't want to forget. So I was going through my book because I was like, again, I like to play the divination game sometimes with books or songs. So the first line is, to those out on their own paths, setting little fires. I don't know, for some reason I just love that. So hold on to that, look into that. But then I randomly just flipped to a page, and the line they wanted me to focus on is, and this is gonna, because I've been sitting with your message for the last couple hours being like, do I want to do another video tonight? So while I was sitting with it, it does tie into where we're going with Sabotage and the message for whoever needs to hear it tonight and a few other things. So you need to learn the distinction. And I love this. So let's go into old Sabotage. And what I keep hearing is old, I think it's Ad Rock, where the beginning of the song is like, I can't stand it, I know you planned it. So again, there's gonna be two groups of people here, and maybe for some, it's the two energies are gonna apply for both. But I sense for the first group, this is really about you're sabotaging something in your life. Okay, so let's go back to the history of the word sabotage, the saboteur, which comes from, I mean, saboteur is already French, but saboteur comes from the word sabot, which is the wooden shoe. So where saboteur came in from is that in France, there was some working conditions in some type of factory, I'm guessing, and the workers had these wooden shoes, and they would throw it into the machines, again, to sabotage. So that's kind of where it comes from. So, and we're gonna, the self-sabotage, while I was sitting here thinking, meditating on the energy, they then they wanted you to focus on the comparison game that we do, that humans love to do. When we're comparing ourselves against another, and it's usually another person, very rarely is it a place or a thing. It's usually another person, but fit it where, put it where it fits. It's not only a disservice to ourselves, it's a disservice to the other person. Because going back to what I said about what lack is just lack of eyesight. You're looking through a distorted lens. So it's not only inaccurate, but the disservice is not only are you not able to see yourself clearly in the proportion to who and what you are, as well as the person that you're comparing yourself to. It's, again, how does fear show up? Fear has many, many, many masks, but that self-doubt, envy, jealousy, however, comparison, when we compare ourselves. So someone in the crowd tonight, but I can really sense, there's so much sadness in the heart. This comparison in you, you're comparing something. Maybe you're comparing yourself against someone else and feeling less than. Maybe you're comparing a new person in your life to an old person in your life. There's something here. But when I really tap into the energy, it's really sad. Like, you're sad. And they're showing me, they're using the term, you have the fuckets. So it's like you go into this, it's like, I don't know which wave is carrying. It's like sadness, this distorted comparison or belief. And now it's put you into the fuckets, where you're just like, fuck it, you're gonna sabotage. Is there anything else around that, Spirit? Hold on, let's get a couple rocks here. Also, let's get a little, first let's have a sip about it. Oh, heaven sent, bless up. Okay, let's get a little dibbity dabs, a dabberoo. Okay. Okay, actually, and they're pointing out, so I pulled out another book. This is the feeling. Okay, so this book is called The Crooked Heart of Mercy. And my library was selling some books, so I thought, heck, this looks like a great read. It sounds really tragic. So, but what they're drawing me to, and when I was making my tea, the word steeped kept coming up, and I didn't know why. I was like, steeped in what? Like, where are we going with this, Spirit? Steeped in what? I get nervous sometimes. I'm like, oh shit, cinnamon. Okay, the first line of the thing that I wanted to read. Steeped in regret and filled with longing. And the biggest thing that I've really held on to from one of my spiritual teachers, Asha, she talks about the karmic cycle, that there's really two emotions that keep us coming back. It's longing and regret. The Crooked Heart of Mercy is the poignant story of broken people trying desperately to be whole, lost somewhere between a prayer and a wish. And I just feel like what I just said in the other video, which was then said in the other video, like all of these things I just feel like I'm touching upon. That this idea of brokenness, the message the other night about don't micromanage your healing, and also there was real emphasis on the word healing. You don't need to be healed. We're whole and complete as is. There's only imbalance. And anything and everything is always communicating to us. So if we were to just use the physical body as an example, your body is telling you all the time what it needs. It's like a plant. And just like with plant identification books, like you just need to learn the language, you know? So when my body, like right now, like I'm not looking my best. I've been really, my spiritual emotional state after 4 years has really taken a toll on my body, and it's the first time in my life where I'm like, oh, I see it. And then with my sinuses, like, you know, your body's always, it's just an indicator. It's a flag to be like, hello, oh man, we have something more to tell you. Like it's like receiving a voicemail, you know? So going back to the comparison, and I've really been talking about it a lot in the last, I think, 2 or 3 videos, but this idea of like, we're always in this continuous state, especially with our social media, be better, do better, our best selves, you know, achieve. We're always fixing, doing, holding up the magnifying glass. I don't know. It's weird because there's a lot of us that are desperately trying to do all the fixing and mending, you know, and I feel like it's those people that could actually take a little bit of a breather to put, again, some space in between that oneness. Allow it to breathe. All that healing they've been doing, just, you know, let it breathe. And then the people, like the dirt-kicking snakes who never look within, they could really use some extra healing. I digress. But yeah, whoever I'm connecting to, I said it in other videos, it's like it took me being a parent, looking at my son, again, through the eyes of unconditional love, for me to realize how I've gone into the world and not only seen myself through a distorted lens, but I've seen other people. It really takes a type of love, and it doesn't have to be parent-child. For me, it just happens to be my child. But when you don't see things accurately, when you're looking through the lens of lack, it is heartbreaking. Because now that I see the truth of things, especially when it comes to like self-love or like how perfect you are, even the idea, well, there is no perfect thing. That's the other thing. Perfection is imperfection. That is where perfection lies. It's in what we call imperfection. So it's like I'm seeing someone right now who can't see the truth. And this has been another theme that's come up in the last few readings, where I was saying, I used to have it as part of my morning prayer, is to be like, you know, God, Jesus, Buddha, Grandma, archangels, all ascended masters, my ancestors, you know, please grace me and bless me with the ability to see things as they really are and not how I want them to be. And this goes into, you need to learn the distinction. And I was talking about different words of like guilt versus regret and remorse. There's a distinction. I don't do guilt. Guilt to me is the devolved, toxic energy that doesn't propel you forward. Remorse and regret is the more elevated emotion, where you go, oh man, you realize your impact that you've had, and then you have an impact based off that, you know, where you're like, oh, I really fucked up. I really hurt someone, or I did this thing. I'm not proud of that. But then you take that emotion, and emotion is just energy in motion, and you use that to become a little bit better, or to do a living amends. You somehow make right a bit, you know? Whereas guilt, it's very ego-based, it's very controlling. You never actually, it's a loop. You just stay stuck in this loop. It's very self-serving. There's a lot of people who love to talk about their guilt, how they have all this guilt and shame, but those are the people who actually don't do anything about it. And it also negates a conversation. It's very one-sided. people who've done terrible things that will talk about how guilty they feel. They'll talk about guilt as this kind of blanket umbrella for all the things that they, without actually taking accountability. You know, like one of those apologies where like, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Go into the detail. What are you sorry for? You know what I mean? Learn the distinction between need versus expectation. Expectation, just feel the words. Expectation, to me, it feels really sharp. It kind of holds people under duress. And what I was saying in my earlier video, either you have an open palm or closed. When you say to someone, I need to be with someone romantically who can be honest with me, versus I expect you to be honest with me. Now, one could say like, well, what's the difference? But to me, expectation, when you have expectations of people versus when you take ownership of what you've done, the looking inside, and you go, this is what I need currently. This is what I require and need from people, places, and things. And it's okay if they can't bring that. It's again about seeing the truth as it really is. Because sometimes people can only give you what they have. And it's not because they don't want to. But if their emotional bank account is negative 500, and I'm sure there's people who are like, I wish I had all the emotional money in the bank account to give you. And that's why it requires honest conversations of knowing what your needs are. But when you just go and you say, I expect this, I don't know, to me, expectation, it's really harsh. It's rigid. Going back to open or closed, it's rigid. It's not in a creative solution. Learning the distinction. Also, people forget that when you're comparing, and you feel less than, or you feel jealous or envy, the things that it's a two-way street. The things that you love and admire or are jealous of in someone else, you can only recognize what you know. So somewhere within you, it's there. You just can't see it. Because again, you're looking through the eyes of lack. And that's all it is. Lack is just a lack of eyesight, lack of the ability to see. Okay, so that's one group. Then clearly we have the second group where someone is trying to sabotage. They're a real saboteur. They're a little wooden clog in your life. So how do we learn how to distinguish? A lot of times I have found those old sneaky snakes. Again, a lot of the times they're going to be really minute red flags. And this happens to us all the time. Again, pay attention to your emotional barometer. You know those moments where it's just a quick, where you're like, something makes you pause. You don't know why. And very quickly, again, the mind likes to get in there, especially if someone is sweet, saccharine sweet, generous, pillar of the community. But you know those moments where you're like, something just goes off internally, a little ding, 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 and they're always quick to brush it off. Oh, it's nothing. And the other thing is confusion. Like when I look back at some of the real creepy, like pathological, very unwell people, all the red flags were there. A lot of them were very slight. But when I look at the conflict dance that we had, all I can say is when you're more confused than not, like that's not normal. Because again, just like how lies, dishonesty resonates, it has its own vibration. Again, when you start to get really good at it, you can be like, oh yeah, it feels off. Just like truth resonates. That's why when we've all had an empty apology versus like a heartfelt, you can feel the intention, you can feel the honesty. So we all have to learn a conflict dance with the people that are in our lives. And we all have very different communication styles. And sometimes it is really hard to get on the same page, to understand where everyone's coming from. But for the most part, there's kind of like a finite amount of discussing, hashing it out. And if every time you have an interaction with a person where you're just always confused, where like you think you've understood and like, again, something's off, you're probably not going to be able to put your finger on it. But that alone, because I'm telling you, if we were to juxtapose, when you're dealing with people who come correct, who say what they mean and mean what they say, the energy is different. The energy of someone who is honest, someone who knows how to be honest with themselves and knows how to be honest with those in their lives, is very different than a manipulative person. So if you feel like you're always confused, you're always, like there's always something, and if you again have those little red flags going ding, 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 where you're always kind of having a moment, and literally it just be a couple seconds where you're like, that was weird. Why do I think that's weird? If you have a lot of those, man, just let that be the proof in the pudding. And start to look for examples in your life of people, times in your life or current times, but people in your life that you absolutely know come correct, that you can trust them because you, again, have a history. They've proven it. It's not lip service. It's been put to the test, and there's a feeling. So I'll give an example. Now, in the last 4 years, I've really been put to the test with a few people, but there's one main person. And it was a person I loved with all of my heart. I trusted them. There's nothing, I really believed that this was my person. On paper, they look great. Everything about the appearance of. And suffice to say, when those house of cards came tumbling down, as they say in the narcissistic abuse recovery kind of communities, like when the mask has come off, and it's really jarring because you realize that you love someone who doesn't exist, but why narcissists are so dysregulating and disruptive to those whose past that they decimate. It's because that trust, like the way gaslighting works, the whole thing, the whole mental fuckery, but like you get to a place where you're like, I don't know who the fuck I can trust. Because you're like, holy fuck, if I've been sleeping beside someone for 6 years, I've built this life with them, I'm an intuitive person, you reevaluate. And I only say this because I feel like we'll all know this moment of just feeling like you don't know how to trust. You don't know how to trust yourself, or you don't know how to trust who is a good person. So what really worked for me is that I have one person in my life. She's a soul sister. She's definitely one of my soulmates in this life. We're not together. We once dated briefly, but this person, in my darkest hours where I was like, holy fuck, I don't know how I'm ever gonna I just did not know how I was gonna navigate the world, how to learn how to trust, what that looked like. And so what I just kept hearing is like, go back to any person. So for me, it was my grandmother. I have 3 people actually, and they're all Pisces. 3 Pisces. The 3 people who have loved me the most. I know. Again, I know it. I don't need to believe in it. I know. And so I would just sit in meditation and talk to her and remember her energy and essence. And again, the way when you're with the right people, when you're with correct people, the energy is like night and day. But really fucked up people, it's really, again, it's insidious. It's really slow. It's like a disease. It just slowly creeps, but man, it moves pretty fast. It seems slow. Again, it's just a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's like it proliferates quite quickly, and the roots, it takes over. So if you're struggling with how to trust or how to know, again, go back to the senses. It's about quieting. If you just take the time to observe and listen, and when you're really unsure, the best thing is don't necessarily have to do anything. Just watch. And just be really open. Tell yourself, again, I want to see the truth as it really is, and not how I want it to be. Okay, so that's a message. The card that was really coming out is the Hermit in this particular deck, the Gilded. And I like this one. And they kept coming back to it, so we're going to pull it out to discuss. Because it's a great image. Okay, Hermit. Oh, this always oh, there you are. Okay. So, in this particular, I love this Hermit. So you see, I love this guy. He's like Merlin. He's on a pretty, it's weird. It's like, it looks like a dark, desolated, dangerous place, but I actually get a lot of peace because his energy is peace. Yeah, the night sky. It's actually, like, it looks scary, but it's not really. And he has his lantern, but you see how he sees the snake? This is the thing. When you go within and you trust yourself, you trust that there's a recipe, right? So allow yourself to set the intention. I want to see the truth as it really is, not how I want it to be. Even if it's through the distinction. Are you seeing through the eyes of lack? Are you seeing through lens of distortion? Are you seeing through the lens of love and light? Because when you can get into that space, even just to be open, right? Not to be closed off. The snakes stand out really clearly. And also, like, the snake isn't actually scary. Like, everything about this is actually quite peaceful. It's really just about being like, he didn't step on it and have the snake react. It's like, you see a snake on your path, and at least you see it clearly enough to be like, okay, but like, he's not bothered. No one's really bothered. And to be honest, like, I don't get malevolence. It's kind of like this snake just happened to be having a little snoozy because it's also their bedtime. Maybe it was a warm spot on that one rock, just relaxing itself. Not all snakes are bad. That's the other thing, like, not all snakes are bad. I love snakes. There's some dirt-kicking snakes, and then there's some beautiful snakes, right? The Kundalini snake, the Divine Mother snake. So, it's about a willingness to see, I would say. If you're willing to be honest, or you're open to what that is, again, even if it's just acknowledging that perhaps you're not seeing something correctly. So going back to this person who's just crying in their heart. Oh, I just want the dad in me. It really is just like such a tender, whoever you are. See, the only thing I know is through the lens of being a dad. And so when my son's upset, it's really just, I love a good hug and a rock. Who doesn't need a good hug and a rock, you know? Just to be held and just be like, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. And also, like, you're not quite seeing it the way it really is. But have your feelings about it. But just, for someone, I think you're about to throw something away that actually is really beautiful. Or something. Let's look. Okay, now I'm Snoopy. We're at 30 minutes. 30. Okay. 3 plus 3 equals 6. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a bit of a love situation. Because what doesn't send our hearts into a tailspin nosedive faster than love? Or longing for someone. Okay, so Spirit team, Archangel Michael, you were here before. What do we want to say to this person who's in their feels, who's potentially sabotaging? Oh, Emperor. So you're an Emperor. You're the Emperor. Like, my guy, my girl, you're the Emperor with the world and the sun. And I love this one too, because not only do you have all the big freedom animals here, but you have this angel, and she's got her freedom boobies out. So, like, this is like, yeah, total, this is like big boss energy. Okay, so help me to understand, spirits. Why is this person about to sabotage, or why am I sensing their tears? What's going on for this person? Because I feel like they're comparing, they're about to sabotage something. The 8 of Cups, okay. Oh, the 5 of Cups and the 3 of Swords. Ah, to the 4. Okay. You've been in the ouchies. Yeah. Okay. That'll do it. Like I said. Oh yeah, and you're taking a rest. Okay. Well, that's good. So the problem is, it's the fear, the what if, the comparison of, I said it in the beginning, the two, sorry guys, I've mentioned it before. When spirits get active, sometimes I get the pressure, the big ringing, or like a push, but more often than not, this left ear, oh, is that you, Metatron? Cool. That's one of our little calling cards there. I forgot about that. Whoops. Sorry, Metatron. You had to make my ear so itchy. Okay, well, Metatron's in the house. Oh, and look, we have the 1111. Okay, well, Metatron's here. Okay, and the 4 swords. Yeah, okay. Yes, so going back to what I was saying. And I totally get it. That's why I use that example. There's a place that you get to when something has been, again, we don't have the language for it. Like, just talking about how excruciating something is, like, oh, I call it the moose dry heaving, crying, you know, like running through the forest, like that low moan, like pain beyond pain, betrayal beyond betrayal, things that just take your breath away. They're so painful and so tragic and just so cruel, and what I seem to believe is unnecessary. Like, oh, again, some of us have not gotten the memo that we don't need to treat each other like this. Exactly. Beep. Can I get an amen? Amen. Okay. Like, we don't have to be perfect, but cruelty is a whole other thing. Because that's like a choice, and it's like you getting off on it. And that's really barfo disgusto. Oh, well, we have a King of Swords here with the Tower, but I also wasn't really focused. Okay. Oh, but we have strength. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and this 5 of Cups, too, he's really in the doldrums. He's really in his sufferings. But, as I keep saying, Nina Simone she's riding with me all the time. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. And this tree is a pear tree. A pear fell on my head once with my son last summer. I was trying to get a pear out of a tree. Smoked me really good. And it wasn't ripe, so it was extra hard. Okay. Yeah, this guy. Okay. Well, Metatron. What would you like to tell this person? Okay, I feel like these are like the two, because the Four of Swords comes after the Three of Swords, which we saw, which is the big ouchies. But there's like, and I was saying this is, I've never said this before about the Four, but this is like, yeah, I'm seeing two different Four of Wands. The Four of Wands from a psychopath that leaves you having to recover. Look, he looks like a corpse. And then there's this Four of Wands. And I feel like this is what's potentially going to be sabotaged, is that for someone in the crowd who's got a lot of sadness in their heart, see, it's the end. It's the end. And the great thing about hindsight is you don't ever have to make the same mistakes twice. Yeah, could be possible that maybe you go on a date or two with someone and it takes you a few dates to be like, whoa, oh, whoa, Nelly, nope. But that's better than being with someone for 6 years and being like, oh shit, cinnamon. Yeah, I feel like this is done. Okay, well, Metatron. Because we have the sun out and the world. Again, the world is like endings and new beginnings. And also, you're a big boss. You're the emperor. You're the emperor, motherfucker. Put the crown back on your head. You are the emperor. I feel like someone is not seeing themselves as the emperor. It's like they know they're the emperor. It's like, it's almost like, yeah, this emperor went into a battle that normally an emperor, I don't know, it's like the emperor kind of got his butt kicked a little bit and then was like, is like, am I really an emperor? Like, I don't know. They're internalizing. There's the initial CM. And he does have a little machete in his hand. But he's lifting his robe. Yeah. You're the emperor. And shit hurts, man. Absolutely. Like, I will never ever downplay how shitty humans can be to one another. You know? Like I said, I just have to look into my own little records to be like, oh yeah, Ochi. Totally get it. Totally understand how. But I feel like I'm the messenger. I'm just like, oh, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because we have the sun out with this Four of Wands. Oh, and there's dragonflies, too. And we have lavender. Very healing. What else do we have here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, that one planet is on Cancer. Maybe one of you is a Cancer or a Leo. It's kind of on the cusp. Maybe one of you is a cusper. Like July 20th. June 21st. But that's like the first day of Cancer. June 21st has been coming through a lot, though, in my readings. And I mentioned Nicole Kidman in my last reading. And her birthday is June 21st. Okay, let's move along. Okay, so here, so let's put these cards back in. Let's do another shuffle. Okay, so spirits. Spirit team, Archangel Michael, Metatron's in the house. Heck, Saint Germain, if you're here, you want to pop in. Grandma Florine. Guys, if you're new to the channel, my grandma, heavy hitter. She's up with the angels. She died in prayer. She healed a lot of people with her prayer, including myself. Most beautiful. She was a Pisces. She was one of she's the only family member who ever truly loved me. And I feel as though I'm alive today because of my grandmother. And so if you need a grandma, if you need someone, you just call on Grandma Florine. She loved everybody. She walked the talk. You can trust that. Okay, so 8 of Cups. Okay. Well, Emperor, you are walking away. Or you walked away. Which is, again, bravo. You fucking go, girl. You're under a full moon. Yeah, it's always darkest before the dawn. So, see how the dawn's coming up? You've made it out of the worst part of the darkness. It's now dawn. And everything's been illuminated. Because that's what the full moon does. It illuminates. Okay. What else do you want this person to know? Spirit team. The High Priestess. Yeah. Not only are you the Emperor, but you're psychic as fuck. And with all this water and all this talk of Pisces, there's some real water energy here. Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. And the initials here are JB, so maybe some of you have those initials, or it's important. She's got her freedom toes out. Always a good sign. And see, this is now moving into the new moon, which we're coming into tomorrow. Okay, so let's be manifesting that solar eclipse. You will always know when you know. And that's what I tell myself all the time. I always know when I know. And when you don't know, you just stay still and you observe and you wait until you know. Okay, what else do you want to tell this person? Man. Hold on. My mind races a lot, so if there's a slightly other thought while I'm shuffling and I get a card and it feels, I like when it's clear. So let's have a sip of tea about it. Okay. So what is the advice for this person in regards to a potential new relationship? Because this is what it seems to be what it's about. This one? Oh, beautiful. Look, psh, psh. See, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I just want to fucking scream right now. Just stupendous. So not only are you psychic, again, all this water, you're in the star now. So not only are you healing, oh, and this looks like a big eye. Okay, wait, I have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god, the blue jay. The blue jay for me is always a good sign. I was just asking the cards myself for my own signs to be like, how get to weed out quickly. But blue jays are always my bird of thumbs up. Cardinals, even though I love them, I think they're so beautiful. They're my warning bird. If I see a cardinal, she's got lots of blue. Oh, she's got her, I can't show her again because she's got her freedom boobies dead center with the nipples. And we all know that the world hates nipples. It's not even the boobs that are the issue, it's the nips. Again, how are we going to fight the Armageddon when nipples seem to take us out? I digress. Okay. There's 2 moons. What if the person coming towards you is also a water sign? 2 moons. 1 blue jay. Yeah, you're waiting for your other blue jay. Okay, while you're healing, you're healed. And it's effervescent. Okay, sorry, I'm getting lost in the imagery here, but either way, you're psychic. You're always going to know when you know. You will always know when you know. Okay? And when you're unsure, that's your cue then to not make any decision. You wait until you know. Because for me, myself, it's true. Like every time I have known, it's just like when you have an orgasm. You can't mistake it. I remember once someone asking me and saying, well, I think I've had an orgasm. Like, I don't really know. Like, how do you... And I was like, my guy, my girl, you will know when you know. Like, you know? So it's like this. You will know when you know when you know. And look who follows that. The Six of Wands. Successful as shit. Yeah, you're back to being the Emperor. You've made it through the war, the Five of Wands. Because the Six of Wands always is the successor of the Five of Wands, which is like a fucking battle. But, you know? And that's where you've been. And in this card, he doesn't, in some of the decks, they usually have their heads all wrapped up in gauze. And like, you know, you can tell that they've, but this guy, look at you, because you're in that Four of Swords. You were resting. You were resting yourself. Resting those dogs. Okay, what else we have in here? Yeah. You got a beautiful little horse that you're riding? Yeah, you're strong in this. Like, there's no gauze on the head. So you're healed. You don't need to fix anything. You're good. You had a little rest. You had a little snooze. A little healing snooze. And see, because you've done the work and you're focused now, you can trust. You can trust yourself, because the Hermit is always about going within. You went within into the darkness. Now look at you. This path that would normally be all scary and it's all craggy and like drops off. Like when I look at this, it's a peaceful card, even though it would appear as though it's not. And again, the snake does not give me the ick. It's just, you're looking and you go, oh, what kind of snake is this? Again, asking, what kind of snake? The distinction. Going back to distinction. What kind of snake is this? See, look, the snake, it's in the affinity symbol, but if you look, it's not in a striking position and the snake is moving away. Learn the distinction. There's two different types of snakes. Healing snake, and a real ratty rat, dirt-kicking snake. Ugh, we know those types. We know those types. Okay, any last messages? Because, oh yeah, we're at 48 minutes. Okay, one last card. One last card for this person before I blow you a kiss. Wish you the best. Eight of Pentacles. The Strength and the Empress. Yeah, it does take work. Absolutely. When shitty human beings do shitty things, yeah, resting, healing, reevaluating, going over all the things, doing the work, it takes work. But you are mastering, right? And you've been at this a while because there's cobwebs. Yeah, you've been working at this for a while. So much so, too, that the only little friend that you have is this little mouse. That's your best friend right now. That's the only person you seem to trust, is this little mouse. He's not even a rat. Yeah, he's got a really cute little face. And then, this is you. Look again. Look at you. Oh, yeah. That glorious lion. And you're balanced. Because now you're showing up as the Empress. You have both. You're both the Emperor and the Empress. You know how to take care of yourself. You have all your needs met. So it's not contingent upon someone. Let the love in. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That sabot, that wooden clog, this is not the machine that you want to throw it into. the working conditions of this particular love is good. Throw that shoe in when the conditions aren't good. But if you haven't really explored the conditions yet, and you don't know, man, this might be the hell of a, well, I guess a factory is a poor example, but you know what I mean. Okay. Well, on that note, nighty-night. Take care of your heart, and just remember, you'll know when you know when you know. It couldn't hurt to give that Four of Wands a smooch. I'm a big believer in the smooch, old smoochies. So if there's a really good person out there that also wants to give you a smooch at some point, and if you feel like somehow you're just not good enough, just remember, like, darling, you're the Emperor and the Empress. And the Sun was there. You had all the heavy hitters. Just food for thought. Okay, that's it. Night-night.